Australia lost their long-term collaboration with China, which were unexpected for Australia, and China signed a long-term agreement with Brazil. So we will give you the reasons that how Australia lost their $300 billion with China, and what are the reasons, and why China 30-year strategic project with Brazil instead of Australia. So keep watching the video, we will clear your ambiguities. China has signed a 30-year strategic project with Brazil, which includes the construction of a new city in the country's Amazon rainforest. The $300 billion project will be the largest of its kind in history, and it will be built on land that was previously owned by Brazilians and sold to China at an affordable price. The new city will be home to 25 million people, and it will be developed over 6 years. It is expected to be completed by 2032, according to the Washington Post. According to Chinese President Xi Jinping, the new city will become an important magnet for talent from all over the world. It will also help attract more investment from China's neighbors. Who announced this deal? The deal was announced by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who said that it would help both countries promote cooperation in various fields. In addition to China and Brazil's close ties, they have also shared a strong interest in developing their own economies. The signing of this agreement is of great significance to both China and Brazil, Xi said at the signing ceremony. It shows that we have always been committed to expanding mutual respect and friendship between our two peoples. According to Bloomberg News, China has been pushing Brazil to sign an agreement similar to this one for several years now. The news agency reported that Brazil had previously rejected similar deals because they thought they were too expensive or too risky for the country's economy. While this loss is certainly a big deal for Australia, it's also important to note that this isn't a new development. In fact, it's been going on for some time now. The Chinese economy has been growing at an astounding rate over the past several years, and as such, it's no surprise that it's overshadowing all other economies in terms of trade. However, what is surprising is how quickly things have changed. Just 2 years ago, China was still tied with Japan at number 2 on Australia's list of top partners. How Australia lost their $300 billion with China. Australia is losing $300 billion in trade with China, according to a new report by the Australian National University's Global Change Institute. The report shows that Australia's goods exports to China are declining while its imports from China are rising. The report also notes that Australia's trade deficit with China has doubled in the past decade. Australia has lost billions of dollars in trade with China due to what they call a strategic project signed in Brazil. This is a deal that was signed between Brazil and China, which will allow China to have a 30-year monopoly on the Amazon rainforest. This has resulted in the loss of jobs for thousands of Australians who were working on projects with China. Australia's economy is currently in a slump. The country is facing a lot of challenges, and one of the biggest ones has been their trade deficit with China. The Australian economy is closely linked to China, but the two countries have had a tense relationship for some time now. In recent years, there have been several instances where China has tried to take over Australian assets, and this has led to a lot of tension between the two countries. In 2016, Australia announced that they would be selling off some of their assets as part of an attempt to reduce their trade deficit with China by $300 billion over a period of 5 years. But this didn't go as planned. Instead of reducing the deficit, it increased by $200 billion. In fact, Australia has lost $300 billion in trade with China over the past few years. This is because they have been investing in other countries instead of investing in their own country. This is a bad move on their part because they are going to lose billions more if they don't do something about it soon. In a surprising turn of events, China has signed a 30-year strategic partnership with Brazil, a move that will allow the country to secure its position in the global market. This deal is expected to result in an increase of 40% in both countries' economies and help them gain access to new markets for their goods. The two countries will work together to improve their energy resources and reduce their carbon emissions. They will also work together to develop new technologies for the agricultural industry as well as renewable energy sources. And why China 30-year strategic project with Brazil instead of Australia? Why? It's hard to say for sure. China has been expanding its influence in South America for some time now, and it's not hard to see why. The continent is ripe for investment, with natural resources, vast tracts of land that can be bought up cheaply, and plenty of potential for underdeveloped countries looking to become industrialized. It's also worth noting that Australia's Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull was in China recently trying to persuade President Xi Jinping to lend his country a hand in purchasing the one thing they need more than anything else, iron ore. When asked about the decision by Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs Julie Bishop, she told reporters that I'm not going to speculate on what might have happened if we'd had a signed deal with China. China is Brazil's largest trading partner, and it has signed a 30-year strategic project with Brazil. This means that Brazil will have more access to Chinese technology, which will help them develop their own industries. The agreement also includes an agreement for cooperation between the two countries' universities. Australia hasn't signed any similar agreements with China and has been struggling to keep up with China's technological advancements. There are many reasons why Australia should join other countries like France and Germany in signing these kinds of agreements with China. Why do you think that is? It's simple. China wants to be able to sell its products in South America, which is a huge market for them. They also want to be able to farm there and sell crop seeds and fertilizer. And finally, they want access to natural resources, which means they want to buy up as much land as possible. Now, why would they do that? Because the more land they own and control, the more money they'll make off of agriculture and mining operations there. And since Brazil is such an important market for them right now, it makes sense for them to go ahead with this deal. Australia is a great country, but it's not in China's best interests to spend money on it. China is worried about Australia's growing population and its ability to take advantage of China's expanding economy. China has been investing heavily in Brazil, which has strong ties with China and has a large population, which means that if Australia were to become more successful economically, this would likely draw more people away from Brazil and towards Australia. China is one of the major economic players in the world, and it has been increasing its influence over the past decade. The country has a lot of economic resources, but it also has a lot of problems. One of these includes pollution caused by its manufacturing industry. According to the World Bank, China lost $300 billion in revenue due to pollution and climate change in 2017. In order to combat this problem, China signed a 30-year strategic project with Brazil on April 22nd. This partnership will help improve Brazil's energy efficiency and renewable energy production, while also creating jobs for locals who were previously unemployed due to environmental damage caused by deforestation and related industries such as oil extraction. This deal is significant because it shows how much China values Brazil's economy over other areas like Australia's or even other countries' economies within Southeast Asia such as Vietnam or Indonesia. Why China has leg up on the others? China is a world power, and so are Brazil and Australia. But when it comes to the benefits of strategic business alliances, China has a leg up on the others. Why? Because whereas Brazil and Australia are both developing countries with limited resources, China is already a developed country with plenty of money. In fact, China currently holds over $3 trillion in foreign currency reserves, enough to cover almost half of its annual budget for next year alone. And that's not even counting its gold reserve, which is worth an estimated $117 billion. By comparison, Australia has $1 billion in gold reserves, and Brazil has just $1,015 billion. China is worried about Australia's growing population and its ability to take advantage of China's expanding economy. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.